Good morning. I'd like to call the Council Appointed Officer Committee special meeting to order on November 13th, 2024. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Burt.
Here.
Councilmember Koo.
Here.
Chair Lowing.
Here.
And I believe Councilmember Koo has an announcement to make.
May I, Chair?
Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm invoking the just cause provision of AB 2449. I am at the National League of Cities City Summit Conference in Tampa, Florida, and there are no adults over the age of 18 in the room with me. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Okay, thank you for that legal disclosure. So we have one action item and the agenda suggests two action items due to scheduling conflicts. The second item, which has to do with city manager review, has been continued to January 26th. Pardon? Yeah, November, like I said, November of 26. Yes, I'm getting ahead of myself in terms of looking to the new year. So first, we can take any public comment for items that are not on the agenda.
We do not have any requests to speak.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead then with our first and only action item with the staff report on the item for tonight, which is discussion and recommendation on next steps for internal audit services contract with Baker Tilly, currently ending in June of 2025.
Good morning, Chair Lowing. Yes, we're here today to discuss the Baker Tilly contract for the city auditor. The current contract terms in June of 2025. And so the committee may wish to explore during today's discussion whether to renew the Baker Tilly contract, renegotiate the contract, or to explore other providers.
Okay. Is that all?
Yeah.
All right. Guess we're on our own after that, right?
Well, and Chair, I'll just add, this is Kylie Nose, Assistant City Manager. This is one of the 4 council appointed positions. And so that is one of the reasons, obviously, that is the reason why we are before this committee today as one of the officials. And so ultimately, staff will take their guidance from the committee and the full council. And so it's just a little different in the sense since we have a contract provider versus an employed staff. We do have Baker Tilly staff on the line. Should the committee have questions, we also have our procurement team behind us for any of those questions, as well as myself and legal support to help you navigate your options.
Okay. Thank you. So yes, we have a number of options that we should discuss and come up with a recommendation to council. So that's our task today. I thought to kick it off, I would ask a question of our current auditor. And that is, obviously, one of the options is to, start a whole new contract. If Baker Tilly was starting a new contract with us today, in terms of the contract that's in place that we could also choose to extend, would there be any substantive changes? And in parallel, does that mean that we should make amendments to the current contract if we were to continue with Baker Tilly at this point? So that's a question to our auditor.
So the contract as it stands has 6 major tasks. So that includes an annual risk assessment, an annual audit plan, oversight of the audits that are selected for the annual audit plan, various reporting, oversight of the external auditor who does the financial statement review, and then evaluation and benchmarking. And I think that these 6 tasks are still good tasks, and I wouldn't see eliminating any of them. I don't think there are necessarily any tasks that need to be added either. One thing I have noted from just looking at previous years and the current year is that I think, we might need to allocate more funds to some tasks and maybe less funds to other tasks. So I think it's just, that is the only thing that I would see really needing to change.
So you brought up the cost factor. You feel like the costs are going to be as is, but moved from one bucket to another?
I might defer that question to my colleague, Chris Calafatis. I think he, as a manager of Baker Tilly, can speak more to, if we feel that we would need to increase contract costs, if that's what you're speaking to.
Yes.
I know that we have had rate changes. Is Chris on the line?
Yeah, one moment, Kate. It looks like we are promoting him.
Chris, you should be able to unmute now.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, just had to get connected with the technology. No, I don't think there's any major changes in overall fees. Obviously we appreciate y'all's support to maintain the contract. The one thing that I would mention, all of our other internal audit outsourced relationships like this, it typically operates off like an overall fixed fee. We agree to do a set number of audit or consulting engagements to handle the risk assessment, the audit planning, the hotline. But, typically we don't assign funds towards certain tasks. It just lends itself to a lot of like administrative stuff. But I understand if that's how y'all prefer to do it, but just trying to compare to others. Typically, we just agree on here's the dollar amount, and it's up to us to sort of manage the different tasks. But completely fine if y'all want to do it the way we've always done it.
And I recall in the last year, for example, your actual hours internally at the firm went over, but you wanted to complete the task. It just took longer, and we did not get charged for that.
Correct.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
Of course for y'all.
Right. And is there anything else that either you or Kate would like to say before I start to have some discussion with colleagues? No need. I'm just letting you get your oar in if you want.
I mean, the one thing that I would say, and then I'll let Kate speak, is I think, in the last, 7 or 8 months, however long it's been since Kate and I have been involved in this relationship, I do think it's come a long way. And I hope that is factored into this decision. Kate, anything you'd like to add?
Just, it's been a pleasure working with the city, and I hope to continue this relationship. I think that I have a good understanding of the types of audits you'd like to see performed and plan to deliver on those, and I just hope to see this relationship continue. So thank you.
Okay, great. So let me open it to comments from colleagues. One is remote, but I'll look for that hand to go up occasionally. Lydia and Pat.
Just one, I was trying to redo the math because we didn't really break out the cost per year. We've got the first contract, which wasn't a full 2 years, which was 1.3 million from basically October through June, October 2020 through June 2022, and then an extension through this year, or this coming year in June. So what's the annual cost? What's it been historically, and what is it, would it be with this extension?
So for the last 3 years, it's been around 708,000 per year.
Okay. And the extension would be for 3 additional years. So it's staying about the same cost.
Correct.
Great. Thank you. That's all I have right now.
Lydia?
It was it's about the same, what Councilmember Burt said. Basically, when I calculated, so right now the amendment 1 is 2.1 million for additional 3 years. And when I break it out, it comes to like 700,000 per year. But then the one on 3.4 million over 5 years, I don't know if I got it right, but it looks like it's 680,000 a year. Can we kind of get a confirmation on that?
So Councilmember Ku, we currently have been in contract with Baker Tilly for 5 years. The first 2 years, FY 2021 and FY 2022, the contract authority was 550,000 and 750,000 respectively for each of those years. Now, that was because, as Councilmember Burt pointed out, one of the years was a partial year. However, in the advent of COVID and all of the cost reductions that we had done across the organization, Baker Tilly took part in that with the organization and adjusted their contract down to the approximate $700,000 on an annual basis during that kind of COVID period. I don't recall exactly what year that was, but as Auditor Murdoch identified, we've been at about a $700,000 a year contract cost.
Okay, so it's, okay, very good. Does any staff remember when we had the city attorney? Were they allocated a budget for their office that they handled, or how did that, I don't remember how it worked. Does anybody on staff remember?
I'm not sure if staff follows the question. Councilmember Ku, could you?
When we had Miss Harriet Richardson
When we had in-house audit staff.
in-house, yes. Did
What,
they have their own budget in order to take care of matters, or was it going through city manager's office also?
no, when it was in-house, this was a separate office similar to the city clerk, city attorney, or city manager. They had their own staff as well as, other non-salary expenses.
Okay, thank you. The
And
reason I ask is because the contract is signed by Ed, and it just kind of seems a little bit strange. Yeah, and I was wondering how would it work if the mayor signed it or the vice mayor signed it versus the city manager signing it, but I guess that would be a process question. But that's okay. Thank you.
And I think that does bring up just the cost comparison from when we did it, had internal functions. And as I recall, it's a higher cost. And frankly, I'll say that not only is it a lower cost to be outsourced, but we have the pros and cons of having people on site all the time. But with Baker Tilly, we've been able to tap into really specialized expertise in different areas, which is, I think, a real plus to the current model.
Having taken a few comments here, I just want to see if there's any public comment on this particular item.
There are no public comments.
Okay, thank you. So close that comment period. Yeah, I mean, so one of the facts of the matter here is that we've only been re-engaged with our new auditor for a number of months. And from my perspective and from what I hear, that's been going fine. So it would seem to me that the idea of starting up a new search for a new auditor is extraordinarily premature. So I would suggest that we sort of take that one off the table and then just decide on sort of the amount of years, the amount of time that we want to renew it, if we want to get sort of a second look at the new Baker Tilly because they have new financing and new folks involved there, as well as we, after our extensive interview process, picked the two folks that are on screen right now to run this thing. So that'd be my perspective on this. Others? I guess that motion passes.
Oh, sorry, let Lydia go. Sorry.
Go ahead, Lydia.
So I am pleased also to be working with Kate and Chris. So, and you're right that we just we just started the relationship, and I'd like to see some longevity before. And I think it's a little bit early to be making any decisions on renegotiations or even going out for alternative service providers. So I'd like to have a relationship established with the new Baker Tilly and with Kate and Chris. I think the only one thing I would really like to have some reassurance on is that, you know, since we've had Baker Tilly, which has been very satisfying, there has been 2 auditors that change. So I think for us, we would like to have a little bit more reassurance that it is stable and steady, and that we will have you for a longer time where we can actually have a relationship established and longer too. I think we really had a good relationship with Kyle, and don't know what happened, but we were sorry to see him leave, and we were trying to establish the relationship with Adrian, and it didn't work out. So I think a longer time would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I support continuing the services. My only question is that I'm looking in the staff report for the renewal, we have that we've extended the contract through June of 2025. But I'm not seeing the terms. If we were to extend it further, is there a recommendation there or an alternative?
Sure. What I think staff is looking for from the committee is basically the feedback, which I think I've heard there. We laid out 3 options. Let me start there. One is to renew the contract with the existing price and kind of terms. The other would be to potentially renegotiate the contract, where we would just modify the terms and conditions. Perhaps if council was interested in something like what Chris identified in terms of task order versus a retainer, we could look at those kind of structural changes. Those kinds of conversations typically are better had if we have, you know, kind of goals from the committee, and then appoint one of you to do that direct negotiation with some help from our city attorney's office and our procurement staff to iron out those details. And we can then either come back to this committee with those details, or if they are in line with the ultimate goals of the committees identified, just bring the contract back to the full council for their review. Either kind of work.
Well, then I would move that we requested staff and the CAO chair work together on refining terms of a contract renewal. And the only, I should have asked before putting a motion out there, is the length of time of that, the term of that renewal.
I was going to suggest an incremental year from where we are right now. So to go to June of 26.
Okay, and the reason being just because we want to just be able to evaluate with the transition that we've had and confirm that we want to continue that.
That's right. And that also, if any bumps occur in the road, that gives us a long time to do another RFP and move on with a different source.
Okay, Kylie, is extending for a year and okay?
Ultimately, it is the committee's decision and the council ultimately how long you wish to extend the contract. I will note a procurement like this will take probably 9 months and a lot of time from the council members and the council themselves. So a 1-year extension, that's probably about 18 months, right, in terms of from today. And so you're really only going to be providing yourself about 9 months worth of additional time with them before you would need to have another evaluation, whether or not you wanted to do a RFP process.
Well, explain to me that renewal taking 9 months. We've got an existing contract, we're going to renew it, and it takes 9 months to accomplish that, you're saying?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. When a contract comes to term, there's the same choice you would be posed with of, do you want to go out for an RFP or do you want to do a renewal? So if we do a renewal until June of 2026, What I guess I'm saying is with that 2026 date, we would back ourselves up 9 months to have another conversation with this body on whether or not you wanted to do another renewal or do a procurement process.
So basically, in the fall of 2025, we would have to make a next decision.
Correct.
Okay. I'm okay with that. And I think there's a strong likelihood that we'll want to continue. Because we've had this change, we want to be able to confirm that our initial impressions are validated and that we want to go into a longer term contract. So that would be the motion, is to extend it for 1 year.
I'll second that. And I concur. I could be convinced to have it longer right now, but I don't think that materially we're going to have to do much more 9 months from now to do this again. I think our interactions clearly in the interview process, which we all participated in, were very positive, and we're very excited about having Kate as the primary and then Chris involved as well. So I'm not anticipating that this is going to be disruptive. I'm just putting the one caution flag in the ground, which is that we've had a lot of turnover, as Councilmember Koo mentioned, and we don't want that anymore. So obviously things change internally and people change jobs and things like that, but I think there's enough wriggle room there that we're not, I don't think, inconveniencing them or ourselves substantially.
Sure. So I might offer a couple points. One option, and again, you could provide the discretion to the committee chair to have this dialogue and make a determination whether or not it aligned with your goals or expectations. You could negotiate options for extension now. So you would only approve a 1 year extension, but you will already proactively negotiate the options to extend. And you perhaps could then roll the evaluation of extending the contract into your annual review of appointees that you already do with your existing on-prem staff. So that might be an opportunity to streamline this a little bit and pull it into the routinized process. The other piece I would say is in terms of a 1 year contract versus a multi-year or a 1 year with options for extension, you might consider asking Baker Tilly staff what that does to them operationally, since they do staff up or staff down, I think, associated with that. And I don't have the expertise in terms of impacts for them in terms of those operations.
Well, I'll just say I like those, both those aspects of negotiating the contract with an option for an additional 2 years extension and to roll the review of it in with our other CAO review period. So I'd like to add that to the motion.
And I'll stay with second as well.
Clerks, were you able to capture what that was?
Would you please
Chris?
repeat that, council member?
Yeah, so it will be a 1 year through, we'll say through 2026 plus negotiate options to renew, an option to renew for an additional 2 years.
Negotiate terms for an option? Yeah.
And then another sentence would be, oh wait, to align the review of the independent auditor performance with other CAO reviews.
Can I ask why you use independent versus city?
No reason. Or is it even?
Can we align it to city since
Sure.
that's the position? Thank you.
Chris has a comment. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. The only thing I wanted to say, I know some stuff has come up about turnover, and I just want y'all to know, unless Kate were to leave the firm, which I certainly hope she's not thinking about, because I think Kate's phenomenal. And I think she's done a great job on this account. This is the primary work she does for the firm. And there is no plans to move Kate off this account for years and years to come. So you can rest assured I will have Kate on this account unless Kate were to literally leave the entire firm. And we certainly hope that's not the case. So I just want to make that clear.
Good, thank you. And we definitely like Palo Alto City alumni working on our account as well, so.
Of course.
So is there, as long as you have the floor, is there anything about this motion that is of concern to you or disruptive in any way?
I don't have any concerns about this. This is completely fine. We're appreciative of the extra year. It has no bearing on our overall ability to staff the engagement. So the way it's written is completely fine from the Baker Tilly side.
Okay, great. Any other comments by council members?
Chair, I think, so that is one, which is the extension or, that's the first part, but, and then the other, do we need to add in there that the name change for the company? From Baker Tilly US LLP to Baker Tilly Advisory Group LP?
Thank you, Councilmember Ku. The council already took action on that. So everything is square from a contract perspective. We formally made that amendment change in spring of 2024.
Okay, thank you. 'Cause
Yeah.
it
this year.
says it over here, and I just want to make sure we addressed everything. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. If there are no other comments from council members, we could take a vote on that, please.
Councilmember Ku,
Yes.
Chair Lowing,
Yes.
Councilmember Burt.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. With dispatch, we move through that, so. And that is the last action item. And again, referencing for anybody that's joined us online, the second agenda item is going to be on November 26th. We'll pick that one up again. So if there's no other business, then we stand adjourned. Thank you very much.